G'day, it's barcode number 1653229. See, this is my number. I don't have a name anymore. This is me. This is it. So we should all have shirts now with a barcode to show who we are, right? I mean, you know, just QR scan it, right? Anyway, I'm here talking about the Philippine pandemic and the madness that is. Yeah. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about, you know, just in summary, what's this pandemic been like for us? What's it been like? Has it been fun, honey? Has it been great having a baby, a newborn baby during 2020 and living in the new age? This, I don't know what to call it. It's just surreal. The serenity of being locked down. So it started with lockdowns. You got to be locked up, lock away the key, stay at home, locked down in the house. We were locked down for how long? 3 months or 4 months, babe? How long?
Not more than 4 months. So
it was about 3 or 4 months. We were locked down for a long time. Like, we couldn't leave the house except to buy groceries. So you needed actually a quarantine pass, and a dude came around with the quarantine pass, and, you know, you had to wear a face mask to get down to the supermarket, line up. You know, you could line up for ages. People were panic buying, you know, buying up half a store. Initially, it was terrible being locked up. It was like being locked up in prison. We couldn't even take the baby walking. We couldn't even take the dog walking. After a while, finally, the lockdowns ended and we went from, what was it, ECQ to GCQ to MGCQ, and it was like this.
And back again.
And back again, and confusing what was what and what's the difference. And honestly, and this is just being frank, I don't find that there's much difference today. I mean, like, we can't really go very far. Yeah, so we're stuck in the same area. It's not like we can go anywhere. So, you know, what's the difference? Not just that, but the confusion of it all. You know, the government came out and said, you can go places, you can travel, you know, it's ended, the lockdown's ended, hooray, awesome. So essentially what that meant is you can go to work, you know, wearing a mask and a face shield at work. That's right, people in the BPO industry and the call centers are wearing a mask and a face shield on their computer. Can you imagine trying to take a call? Hey man, how you going? How can people even hear properly?
What, they have to
Yeah.
wear a face?
Yeah, in the office, you have to wear a mask and a face shield. So the same, you know, for, you know, office buildings, for the malls, you know, face mask and face shield. It's like, you know, we don't have names anymore. We have barcodes. The IATF came out and they said, you know, if you're in MGCQ, you can travel to another place, which is MGCQ. But then the IATF came out and they said, you can do that, but you also had to adhere not only to the federal rules and the federal legislation, but also to the local rules. So if the local barangay or, you know, province or town said, oh, you must have a travel pass, you must have a quarantine pass, you must have a medical check within 48 hours old, you must have a rapid check, you must have all of this. If they say that, you can't travel from one place to the other. So yeah, this has caused confusion. Not only that, it's the expense of getting sick. People don't want to get sick. I know I don't want to get sick, and I can tell you the private healthcare system here in the Philippines, it's almost similar to the US system. If you get sick, you're going to have a bad time. It's going to cost you cha-ching money. There was a doctor recently, and the doctor said, hey, if you don't have a spare 1 million peso per family member, you know, to go to the private hospital and be treated for COVID-19, then stay at home. Yep, because you don't want to get sick and fork out 1 million pesos. So 1 million pesos is like 20,000 US dollars. I can tell you, I don't have a spare $20,000. Do you? Next thing, and it's been frustrating some of my friends, and it's been frustrating me, is if you are under the age of 21, or over the age of 60, you're restricted as to where you can go. Actually, one of my friends, poor guy, he got really frustrated because he was trying to renew his license. So he's trying to renew his license and he's just over 60. And what happened is, the government, the local government, trying to renew the license said, hey, you can't be in the office because you're over 60. You're going to have to wait until COVID-19 ends to get your license. So how does that work? I mean, if you can't drive anywhere, do you just have to walk to the supermarket? What happens if the supermarket is, 2 hours walk away? What happens if it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kilometers away? What are you supposed to do? Get a taxi everywhere? What if there's no taxis? What if you're out in the province? And with public transport, again, mask, face shield. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So it's really frustrating. People are very tired of it. Not just over 60, but under 21. Maybe you're a teenager. Maybe you're stuck at home. Maybe, school's being called off. You can't even go to school. Maybe like our baby boy, we want to travel. We want to just have a break, have a holiday and go somewhere. Take our son somewhere, down maybe to La Union or Balear. But we can't because we can't take our child through the checkpoints. You got checkpoints, you got travel passes, quarantine passes, all of these requirements, and every place is different. And this is the biggest thing. There's confusion all over, and it's the risk of driving 2 or 3 hours to some place, hitting a checkpoint, and then realizing that you have to turn all the way back. It's very frustrating. The tourism industry, the holiday industry is really getting smashed at the moment because, like, you think about it, if you're a hotel, maybe you can only have 5 or 10% capacity for some of these hotels, depending on the hotel. Maybe the hotel cannot even reopen whatsoever. Okay, so that's causing a lot of pain and distress for local businesses. I know of many businesses, could be a bar, could be restaurants, that have closed down. And it looks like they might be closing down for good, permanently. So that's not good news. It's very sad to see that some of my favorite bars and restaurants, my local venues, are gone. Conspiracy theories. Talking about conspiracy theory, it's come to light a Dr. Li Meng Yan. So look that up on Google or YouTube. Li Meng Yan has come out to the public. She ran from Hong Kong and mainland China because she was working in the Wuhan labs, working there in the labs, and she has information that she wanted to share, vital information she wanted to share with the world. So she's fled to the United States, where she's slowly releasing information, and most recently she's said that actually she has proof that this COVID-19 was actually developed biologically. It was a biological weapon developed by the Chinese military and CCP in Wuhan, China. That this seafood market is a smokescreen and mirror, and ultimately this was designed in the Wuhan lab. That is scary, scary stuff, that this virus is mutating, that we're getting second waves. I've heard of individuals in Hong Kong catching this sickness for a second time. So people are really starting to worry about this virus. And, is this just the tip of the iceberg? So Li Meng Yan, she's extremely brave. She's a whistleblower, and, good on her for coming out and telling the truth. But what's bad is actually big social media enterprises like Twitter actually closed down her account and are trying to stop her from being heard. So if you haven't heard about her already, Li Meng Yan, search her on Google and watch some of those interviews. Now, the biggest news of all, and this is mega. This is really, really big. Do you know what I'm going to talk about, babe?
What?
Proclamation 1021. So the president here in the Philippines, he has declared a state of calamity. So there's a state of calamity, and we know that here in the Philippines. But that was due to expire most recently. It's just now been announced that actually President Duterte is extending this state of calamity until September 12th, 2021. He's extending it for a whole 1 more year. So that's a pretty fair indication as to, where we're headed and where we're going. It sounds like, this whole thing isn't going to end anytime soon, that, this is going to continue for at least another year here in the Philippines. That is scary, scary news. And, it's got me concerned. It's got me and my family concerned. So this is our life here in the Philippines during this pandemic. Although things have, restrictions have eased up, we're still feeling the pinch. And, it's getting tiresome. It's getting, boring. We're just getting bored out of our minds. We're kind of, just climbing the walls, as so to speak. I'm just so over it. But look, what do you do? I mean, this virus is serious. It's a serious concern. People are getting sick. The numbers are pretty bad here in the Philippines, and they don't seem to be improving much. I mean, it's kind of like going like this at the moment. Hopefully, we turn the corner, we flatten that curve sooner rather than later. But, the news of this state of calamity being extended for 12 months, this is big news, and it's scary, scary stuff. So please stay safe. And if you don't have $1 million peso to spend on private hospital bills, stay at home. Be safe, and bye for now.